Peace, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of Parlez with Sensei Shui. And this evening, we will be discussing astral projection and other human abilities. Only reason I'm really talking about this is because someone asked me to talk about this. I know I can do a better job or effort on my outreach for questions. That is something that will be coming within this next month. In the meantime, I'm just going to start talking and speaking about my experiences doing this, experimenting with this, and then as people come on and ask questions, I will answer them. So when it comes to my experiences with astral projection, it's been very different than what you read somewhere else. Like when I've experienced astral projection, it hasn't been this cord from my body and all these other things that you see on TikTok or YouTube and these articles. My experiences have been much more with me entering a state of sleep paralysis consciously. And then I use the technique that's like rollout. What's up, Naruto, the best 62? Naruto is a great show, by the way. But what happened was, in the state of sleep paralysis, I'd roll out of my body. And then in rolling out of my body, I had maybe one of two things happen. I experimented with it today, and I would call it an attempt that didn't go as well because I rolled out my body. I couldn't see anything. But what was interesting is I felt myself like walking around, but I couldn't see. I was blind. I felt like there was something over my eyes. But the biggest thing was like with me to figure out with what I was doing was that, oh, I want to go do this. And then for some reason, something in my mind was like, oh, I'm actually walking across my room right now. And then I like fell on the floor and it felt like, say if you're in water and you jump up and you're going down and you're falling down. And then that's what I experienced during that time. But and what I see it, the veil. So the thing is, I get that a few times. So sometimes that doesn't occur and sometimes that does occur. It's one of the on and off things that happens. It hasn't been something that's been consistent, but one of the biggest things I wanted to speak about with this is bringing awareness to the need to surrender when going into these experiences, because often I see on different channels when they speak about this, it's another form of Netflix in a way. And when I speak another form of Netflix, it's something that you could feel like you're progressing and building on yourself when you're just watching and listening and entertaining yourself on the stories of someone else and not spending any time into meditation, reflection, or study, which is really how you learn how to do that. For example, like if you want to learn how to do push-ups or if you want to learn how to do a backflip, you need to strengthen your legs, strengthen your core through not just reading for it or seeing videos and double tapping, but actually put down that time on the mat and raise your vibration. Or like I say in earlier things, actually feeding your body, building up your energetic body so you could actually have fuel to do these things. Because this is one of the things I haven't seen from other channels, but how like everything in the universe, something needs to come in for something needs to go out. So when you're doing things like this, there's actually a fuel that has your body be able to do this. Just like how your body needs to move around with sugars. You can't just not eat anything ever and not drink water and expect for you to have energy to do things. Likewise, in order for some of these spiritual phenomena, if you see that you've been getting cut short in your pursuits or things come to a short stop, what you need to realize is some of these other days you might have naturally a higher level of prana built up from either sleeping for a whole lot or maybe going a walk for nature. But the biggest thing to do is to have that time that you have on your mat and actually meditate. Because I'm one to be like, you know what, meditate. There's plenty of other people like, if you want to. Well, if you're wanting to develop your spiritual body, your spiritual ability, and with all these, say, mental programming that's coming into our ways, the one thing to actually combat that is time on your mat through meditation. And when I say meditation, what I'm specifically speaking of, the aspect, finding a meditation that builds your energetic body, not just one that keeps you from your mind to get distracted or just listening to someone talking to you. Because one of the things I'd like to say, if some of these meditations have someone talking to you the entire time, there's nothing wrong with that. But most of those have a goal rather of calming your mind, rather than learning how to navigate the internal energy body that is of yourself, and learning how to go and about and perform and navigate those inner dimensions. So if anyone has any questions, please ask questions. If not, I'll be ending in the next 5 minutes. This is a whole question answer way that all of this feeds and how this flows. But I guess I'll go ahead talking to other spiritual abilities, because the whole thing is the more I hear about astral projection, it's not the only thing that exists. And somehow that, and when someone has a experience with, say, remote influencing, or say smell, like when you smell something and you're not there, somehow this is different. What type of meditations do I recommend? All right, so I'll get into that after I finish this one. And so what I'm speaking of is, like, I call it mind projection. My teacher through HBI, he calls it mind projection, because it's this one sensory, aka what some people would call the sixth sense. That's the sense that's doing the astral projection, the remote viewing, the remote influencing, all these other things. When you're like lucid dreaming and active in other realities, that's all the same sensory that's communicating to your body. Because one of the things that I disagree with most of the collective is, I don't believe that your soul leaves your body when you astral project. That's not true. If anything, it's more like, imagine if you were sending a drone out and you had a drone camera that was plugged into your nervous system. Or like the person who, like Naruto, when he does, he does his shadow jutsu, and all the people are going around, but there's one, but he still has like sensory that comes back. That's the best way to put of what's really going on. Your soul's not leaving your body. What's up, John loves you. Hello. That's more of what's going on. It's not your soul leaving your body. It's more like you're sending out probes and you're replicating yourself, and that data is coming back to your sensory. So you're not leaving your body. And so what kind of meditations do I recommend? So the meditation I recommend is very simple. You start out with a deep inhale into your nose. Exhale out your mouth. You get 2 fingers. This is the abridged version. You pinch right underneath your belly button and you hold it. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Let go of that spot. Close your eyes and focus on energy, chi, prana, organ, whatever word you like. That energy building up that body, building up that spot, building up this lowest dantian. So I'll be explaining what this is for as we do this. You're going to focus on breathing energy into the spot and building this lowest dantian. So dantian, it's like the Eastern word, like kind of in the Tibetan philosophy for like chakras. But for that, I like to use dantians because it goes with the brains of the body. You're building the lowest brain of the body when you're doing this. So you're breathing in right underneath the belly button, feeling the energy get and build. You should be feeling a slight pressure build up in this area. And that's the whole thing. You'll be feeling and focusing your intention on this spot, like feeling it glowing a few tingles, kind of getting in that. And then you could stay there as long as you want, but just for the sake of demonstration, next you're going to go a little bit like below where your collarbones touch. You're going to pinch there, right above your heart. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. You let go of this spot. And now what I want you to do, close your eyes, give yourself a nice gentle smile, laugh a few times, and focus on the energy filling up the heart in this energy center. This is the seat of the emotional brain. Stomach, the gut feeling, intuitive brain, the heart, the emotional brain, dimensional brain. As we build in and we breathe into the spot, feeling the love, feeling the light, feeling yourself glowing, getting brighter and brighter. You should feel a subtle pressure here, like a really subtle, just kind of like if someone kind of had say if a fan was blowing on the center of your chest, but there was no breeze, it feels something like this. And only on that spot, like if someone had a wreath blower, but it was like really soft, but doesn't spread. It's just in this spot. And you keep breathing in and out slow. And then finally, you're going to go right in between your eyes. You're going to pinch this spot. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. And out the mouth. You're going to release in this spot. Now you're going to focus on this. And for this thing, what you want to do, you want to look down towards your nose. Look down towards your nose and you close your eyes and focus on the spot building and building and building in between your eyes. As you inhale, imagine the prana, the energy going directly into your forehead. Focus on this aftertouch. Continue to build this and build this and build this. And then basically when you finish, make sure to ground your vibration. You bow, you complete it whatever way works best for you. Give yourself a namaskar and bow. The reason for bowing is when say your energy is up high, it's a nice way to ground yourself. That's the thing that's behind bowing in a lot of these ancient cultures. It wasn't as much of submission as it was when they were in the presence of a being of a higher vibration and necessary to ground them out so they didn't get headaches or stuff like that, for them to dip their heads. That's when some of these places, the doors are lower, that forces everyone to bow when they exit. That's to ensure that people don't get sick. That's a real thing. But that was the fast abridged version. Ideally you want to invest 10 to 20 minutes a session into when you do that. And by that, I like to count to maybe 40, 64, 108 breaths per area. Or if you've ever listened to my music, Sensei Shui, I got it here on TikTok. I got it on Apple Music and SoundCloud. One of those, just make your way through it. There's a lot of different shifts and things to help you get it done. It's built to help people. So that's what it's for. Like if you need meditation music that's a little different, check it out. And then someone's asking, do you have to decalcify your pineal gland to have better results when attempting to astral project? And so for that, I would say that's a part of it. But I would say a biggest thing is to have better results when astral project is, as weird as it sounds, is like I was saying earlier, John, is letting go of the fear that your soul's leaving your body and knowing your body's not going to die when you're doing these things. And then another thing that's a part of all this, it's like one of the biggest, I would say, checks that you could say the Matrix, the program, Maya, the illusion, whatever you want to call it, has. It's when you really, really, really want to do something or have it again in spiritual phenomena, that very thing keeps you from experiencing it. Because if you've ever had, I'm assuming you've had an experience before, or if you've had something like that before and you want to have it again, your ness of wanting it again, that want is the very blockage that's keeping you from entering that clear state of receiving that message, right? That's that concept, that mindset of want is keeping you from being clear and still to allow for that sensory to take place, because the part that does that is not the talking part of your mind. The want part is this talking monkey babbler part of your mind. And in order to really get away from that, to achieve these astral projected states and even other states, I'm one that I get clear audio sometimes. So I hear things that are not in the room with me. And I'm learning how to turn it on and off. As for location, I don't know, but like straight up, it's like a radio. It's kind of weird. If you've seen Dune, there's a part of it that they speak about that a little bit. But anyways, the biggest thing is to have the best results when you astral project. Like I said earlier, John, was meditate. Like really, when I say the meditation I just taught, doing something like that, the reason for that is that meditation, we were pinching below the belly button, we were pinching at the heart center, we were pinching at the mind center, because those are three places within the human body, the biological body, that have three brains. Your gut has neural cells, the intestines have neurals, like literally neurons, the heart has neurons, the brain has neurons. There's three different brains within the human body. All right. And so this doesn't only just develop the human body, but this also develops the energetic body, and feeding your energetic body prana. And prana, or energy, chi, the electromagnetism, feeding it the electromagnetism in order so it can better do its job, better perform. Just like if you're about to, walk all day or do some physical labor, you were going to eat something, right? And people are wondering why they might not be accomplishing astral projections like they have before when they're not eating anything. You need to make sure that you feed your spiritual body. That's one of the most important things that you could do on your journey, period. Like if you're listening to this, you need to learn how to feed your spiritual body. The meditation I taught was a great one to do that. There's a few others out there, but just for the sake of simplicity, keep it really simple. Keep it simple. Do it with consistency. Do that plus some Qigong. Look up QIGONG. Find a video. See what works best for you, but get that into your practice. Especially for those of y'all worried about 5G. The way to combat 5G to your body is to develop the energetic body around you. So that way, you're welcome, John. So that way, the forces, the little waves of the 5G that aren't as strong don't have as much influence on you, because your energetic body that spans 33 feet or 10 meters about in every single direction, is strong enough so things can't penetrate as easily. That's why you keep doing it, and then you can, there's empty space power and all that, but I'm not going to get into that. And you said that happened to me with lucid dreaming. Yes, that's very common for that to happen, say in lucid dreaming, when you're in these other states, because you're already in a state where the most of the body and the mind is relaxed. And when you're communicating and talking in these states, sometimes you're actually not even using the head brain. You're using a heart brain or something that's more intuitive. So if anyone has any other questions, just going to start to close out until people start asking questions. On TikTok, I got 11% battery, so we'll see how this goes. But one of the big things is with all these things, especially with astral projection, is learning the art of surrender. Like surrendering yourself. And when I say surrender, is like learning to not have to control everything. Because you can't force yourself to astral project. You have to relax yourself into that state. Because if anything, one of the biggest things that keeps people from achieving some of these things is when you feel the drop. If you've gotten any closer, you feel that drop, that like, oh, like you feeling something's leaving, that drop. Like if you've ever, gone to sleep like somewhere and then you feel like you're falling, like that falling is that aspect of I would say not separation, but you're sending out a probe, right? You're sending out a little drone camera, a little Naruto shadow clone to like go out and experience other dimension, other phenomena. And in that feeling, there's a drop feeling. And the whole thing is not getting attached to that drop feeling, because getting attached to the drop feeling is what the very thing that brings you back into your body. So that's when it goes to surrender, and then even detachment, because a lot of things when I go into detachment on a basic level, I went really deep into it a few weeks ago. But what that is detaching from, oh, what's going to happen to my body? Oh, what's going to happen to this? Oh. Well, that panic and that fear is going to keep you from achieving that same exact thing. So I like to keep this efficient, short, and sweet. If anyone has any questions, if not, I'm going to start closing out. And in the next 3 minutes, please ask questions. What are some good high vibration foods to eat? Some good high vibration foods to eat, believe it or not, raw fruits and mostly raw vegetables, because some vegetables you really do need to cook so you don't get the anti-nutrients. But the high vibration foods to eat, I would say, I'm going to use oh my goodness, the word is escaping my mind, but there's angstrom energy. There it is. It's ANGSTROM, angstrom. So you want to look that up. Foods that are high in angstrom energy, aka high vibration. Angstrom energy is the like electrical energy that's in food that really charges your body. And so when you're eating raw fruits and vegetables, raw fruits in their raw state have the highest amount of angstrom energy. So when you've ever seen Kirlian photography, or Kirlian, whatever it is, KIRLIAN photography, just Google it and you'll see like a picture of a leaf or something, and there's little sparks coming outside of it. If you saw my post that went viral on TikTok about auras, I mentioned it a little bit in there, but it's very much like it's a bioelectric field. That's kind of what the common science is accepting this stuff now, finally. But I like to say raw fruits and veggies. Keep things, I would say, plant-based. And then can you make a list of foods like that in a YouTube video? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I definitely will. Thanks, John. Please suggest videos for me to make, because that's the thing. It's more like I create for y'all, not just for myself. It's really not for myself. It's all for y'all. But yeah, John, I'll make a list of foods for YouTube. And then I have some recipes. I got a free cookbook and stuff, and I'll get a whole thing so you can get it, email, all that cool stuff. But the biggest thing is, I'm going to talk about animal protein here. The biggest thing about with it is like energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you are one who eats animal protein, check into the source of what you've gotten it. All right. So when I say that, like, I'm one to support, like, if you have like a local butcher shop in a family owned business, or I'm really big on halal food because they don't put a lot of preservatives and antibiotics and stuff in their food still, or kosher meat, like that type of stuff, you know that the vibration within it is they treated the animal with love and with care to a certain extent. and not, it wasn't just something that's in a factory line, and you're ingesting that anxiety, that fear, and that anguish from the animal before, versus something that was maybe raised, and that's kind of a way of their understanding, with the kind of happy cow type of thing. Personally, I still eat a little bit of seafood because I found my body works the best. But the biggest thing is, it's like, you need to work on what you consume, right? And I'm not just talking about food. I'll talk on food and then I'll branch off into some other things. But yeah, John said, yeah, I specifically started noticing that when I eat fruits and vegetables, especially organic fruit foods like that, I feel energetic. But when I eat fast foods, I feel slow and sluggish. Indeed, because a part of the slow and sluggish that you experience, John, is not just from the food itself and all the oils and the fats and the grease, but also is from the people who were making the food in the fast food restaurant, that are irritated about working for minimum wage and frustrated about how the boss or how someone treated them as they were putting your fries in that, and all the other 10 people in line, and they put in there and then you go and eat it. We're ingesting that energy too. And when you ingest that energy, and then we get exhausted because the body has to deal with, from vibing high into like, it'd be like if you're just going on the road and you get a speed bump, but you didn't slow down. Well, it made you slow down, whether you like it or not. It's one of those types of things. Right, sir? Yeah. Yeah, energy is transferred to us in very many ways. So it's by what you eat. What are you watching? What do you watch on your whatever screen you prefer? If it's a phone screen, if it's TV screen, if it's computer screen, what are you putting into your mind? What are you watching? That's a diet too, because what you think, or things that you might think, where did this come from? Pay attention to what the like hidden things were going on in what you watch. Subconscious subliminal programming. You need to take control of what you watch, or what you watch will control you. Very much so, right? You need to learn how to be conscious of these things. What you listen to, music. A really big thing about this, if you like music, many humans like music, look up the lyrics of what you're listening to and see if you agree to have that in your life. Like literally look up the lyrics and read it, and realize that you're being told this and you're agreeing to this on a consistent basis. And you're saying that you accept this into your mind, your heart, your soul, into your mind, into your subconscious, would manifest your reality. So you want to make sure that the words that you're listening to and the music you listen to, especially when you work out or when you're sleeping or when you're just hanging out and not really paying attention to anything, that the words that are being spoken are things that you agree with in your life. So you want to make sure that you're not just listening to something just because the beat, because the words, believe it or not, they do have an effect on your consciousness and what you attract. That happens to everyone. You know, no one is above or below that. Everyone experiences that. And then especially the final thing is that touches with it. Who are you surrounding yourself with? The people you surround yourself with, you want to surround yourself with loving, caring, energetic people, right? That's in your circle. If you're one like me to help others who are in other states and help bring them up, that's important too. Yet protect your time and your space with all these other things. Yeah, man. So John said, yeah, I'm starting to think of making an audio track or something with my own personal affirmations to play in my sleep. So I can have that specific energy. I literally do that. It's like a 7-minute track of me reading my affirmations that I recorded when I was in the forest on my GoPro, and I just scrubbed the video, put the audio, and I literally sleep to that every single night. Every single night. And I found it worked best with just the audio and not putting music behind it, because I kept waking up with the music, to be honest. But yeah, like do that, do that for yourself, Everyone here has some type of device that's watching it. So you could literally go on your recording thing on your device, make your affirmations, play it, find a way, some software to loop it, or somehow so it could play over and over and over again when you sleep. So that way you're programming your mind to attract what it is that you want, the type of lifestyle you want to live, the type of lifestyle you want to attract. This is a thought-based universe. Every single thing that you see around you was first a thought before it manifested. Even this phone, someone had to think of what a Android or iPhone was before they created it. They had to think of the idea of the internet. They had to find the metal for the screen so that way you could see it. They had to think of the tapestry behind me to design it. They had to make the glasses in the shape. Someone had to think of, hey, you know what? I can't see. I should cut lenses so I could see better. They had to do that. The letters on your keyboard, someone had to think about that and put them in that order for it to work out. Everything is a thought-based universe. There's nothing that exists that wasn't first thought of. So if you want to change your life or go somewhere different, you need to start thinking and supplementing and augmenting those thoughts and nourishing those thoughts like a garden outside to have that manifest. And the biggest thing is keep out, watch for weeds. And the weeds in this are negative thoughts. You want to, when the negative thoughts come in, you don't want to feed the weeds. So when I say feed the weeds, is keep attention. Oh, why am I thinking this? No, I want to think about that. No, I don't want to think about that. Or just rather like, you know, like when like a wasp or something comes in and you don't swat the wasp, you just kind of look at it and you just let it chill and then it will buzz away. Likewise with like negative thoughts or negative feelings, they come up, learn from it. Oh, that's interesting. And just watch it go away. And then supplement and add in with these positive thoughts. It helps when you have affirmations, so you have a direction of what you're going. You're not just saying like, oh, what do you want to do in your life? Oh, I want to help people. Oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to make more money. Oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to travel. All right, that's the most generic thing. That'd be like if someone's texting you, hey man, what's going on? And you were like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. And they're like, huh? And you're like, what? You didn't want Chinese food? Right? Because think about it, even when you're at a restaurant, you're placing something to order. You're placing a specific order. Just like for the universe, if you say you want more money and you make $100 a month and you made $100.02 that next month, you actually did make more money. You got what you asked for. That's why you need to be a lot more specific for it is what you ask. A whole lot more specific for what you ask without the need of guilt, but still yet have patience for it to manifest. Because sometimes what you think is best for you isn't best for you. It's like just an introduction to what's coming into your life. Some of these things come into your life for you to teach you a lesson or to show a different role of what's going on or things that we need to build within ourselves. But yeah, it's very important that you monitor what energy and what it is that you consume and what it is that you ingest. And I would say, especially with food, because that's one thing that's easier to control and often becomes mindless. Because with food, I heard a date is very important too. So when you're saying date, you mean like the dates, like what you eat? Oh, a date is very important with goals. Okay. Yeah, it's very important to have like a date. All right. So this when it comes for this, they're called SMART goals. All right. Something that's specific, that's measurable, that's attainable, that's reasonable, and that's timely. All right. For the longest time, I was doing SMART goals. I needed to get SMART goals. It's SMART, right? Really have a time, because otherwise, like if you want this to happen, yeah, it will happen. But to put a time, like that's something I've realized I need to be improved on by this time, this is what I will choose. Oh, what were I going to say about the dates we eat? I was going to say the dates you eat are actually very nutritious and really good for you. So I was going to say when it comes to high vibrational foods, I was like, oh yeah, that's a great high vibrational food, especially if you're anything like me and you like to sometimes snack late at night. Having dates in relationship of like chocolate chip cookies or my thing for a while was chocolate covered almonds. A really good thing to replace that was dates. Yeah. So what is this? Yeah. So they're super important because it's some things like this, like foods that were made sacred in a lot of religions. Yeah. They break their fast with during Ramadan because that's something that not just a high vibrational food, but it has the sugars, the fibers, and other antioxidants in for your body to absorb and to get your body ready for digestion. Yeah, because I observe Ramadan as well too. I'm not as hardcore, but I'll do it for maybe about 10 or 20 days. I did 10 days the first year. I think I made it 20 this time. And so I'm just augmenting as I go on. But the biggest thing is with anything, because within Islam, you have dates that are within Hinduism, they have ghee. And ghee is clarified butter. So if people like butter but don't like lactose, check out ghee. It's GHEE. It is lactose free butter and it is delicious. But to bring it back, you could tell I don't dance as much. I heard dates are important. So like to have a date for the goals that you want to see come out. One of the most important things to actually have a date for you when you want something to happen. Because otherwise, it's just going to happen eventually. Like you're like, oh yeah, I'll eventually get there. So you want to get there in 70 years? Or would you rather get there in 7 or 7 months? Like some things will eventually happen. They'll happen at the will of the universe. But have you ever reflected on the time scale that the universe or the earth has in comparison to us humans? Like we think a long time is 100 years. If you think about like, what is a day like in the mind that is the planet Earth? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever consider that maybe every single day that seems like a day to us is just merely a blink of the eye? Like literally like, oh, I'm gonna close my eyes for a second. I'm gonna open them. Like the times is that short for something that's supposed to be billions of years old in the way that time looks. Just a thing to reflect. Some things that we think take a really long time really are almost nothing. Like 5 years, 7 years is not that long of a time. Think about 5 or 7 years ago. The only thing that exists is now. Time is the fluid of which the conscious navigates. So it's more of how do you want to navigate in the present and then feel and reflect on time as the distance it takes to get there, because time is a measure of distance. How long does it take me to get here? Basically, like, how long is my hand? Why am I using something that's physical versus something that's achieved and still using a phrase of distance like I could take out a ruler? Because time is a measure of distance that the consciousness travels in order to accomplish something. All right. I did a lot of affirmations and journaling and visualization and realized how much my reality changed. For example, a couple of months ago, I would always say, if I do good on YouTube, but now my mindset has changed to the point where I know what's going to happen. Exactly. And then you will see it will happen, because one of the biggest things, I was talking with one of my friends today about this. One of the biggest things that causes failure in people's lives is not lack of ability, but rather it's lack of persistence and consistency and self-doubt. Because what if you ask me, hey, Sensei, what's doubt? I feel like doubt is denying your connection to divinity within your heart. You're doubting how the power of God, the force, the universe, unselfish love flows through your being and manifests its will through your existence. Of how, since the universe, God is literally everything. Like it's a conscious field of which we exist, and we are a mirror, like an individual cell within it. To recognize is no different than, say, like, for an example, like if your body was like God or something, and then you were a little cell with on its fingertip. Well, in that, you're still a part of it. It's almost a denial. It's like, no, I'm not that. I don't know if I can really do all this stuff. And that's what doubt is. Doubt is not allowing for this power to flow through you. Doubt is blocking your connection. Doubt is something that's keeping all these things that you want to happen, because you like, if you've ever done any type of like gymnastic thing, because this is the best example, I think, like if you try to do a backflip or a front flip, and if you've ever tried it and thought you couldn't do it, you fall on your face almost every time. Like not almost, like every time. Like if you're trying to do a flip and you don't commit and you don't know that you could do it or don't believe you could do it, you will fall. Just like when you have a goal that you want to achieve and you set your mind, your heart, and your soul to it, if you have a doubt to do it, it's just like you going up and you're trying to do a flip. Right, exactly. Thanks. That's how I do it with skateboarding and trips. Like if you're trying to do a trick when skateboarding or on your scooter or on something, you need to believe you could do it. If you have that doubt in your mind that you can't do it, it doesn't happen. Right. And John Loves You said, like, it's gone to the point where the sun rises in the morning, my goals will be completed by 2022. It just will happen. And then have your dates for 2022. I have mine. I have one for next year. I read it to when I rise and before I go to sleep every single day. Because, by the way, you probably figured out I don't like the word morning because I don't like I'm not crying. I'm not sad when I rise in the morning. I rise. Be mindful of the words that you use. If anyone has any other questions, otherwise, going to be closing out next 3 minutes. Been very valuable. And thoughts, I get thoughts on self-doubt a lot. So for this, when it comes to self-doubt, one thing I'll get from it is to start to navigate to where this started. And so the whole thing would be like, so Nadi and automatique. What I would say with it is, okay, to identify the root of where this starts. So from the aspect of automatique, it sounds like your self-doubt comes from the parents. All right. So since this is really important, give me a split second. I'm gonna plug my phone in because I got 3% battery, and then I'm gonna keep going. So give me a split second. All right. All right. So when it comes to self-doubt, all right. So when it comes to self-doubt, it's very important that you start to navigate the source of which this came from. And so when I say the source of which it comes from, you'd be like, oh, well, it's myself. Well, what or who or what situation arose or happened in your life that first caused you to doubt yourself? Because when you're 2 years old and you're trying stuff out, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old really doesn't doubt themselves. They really think they could just do whatever they want. It was something or someone or some situation that told them they couldn't do it. And so they started to believe in themselves that they couldn't do it or something didn't exist or they couldn't achieve these types of things. And so this is going to go back to, okay, well, how do I stop this? So it's not as much stopping it as it is rather changing the direction of which your energy is flowing and what you're feeding into yourself. So if this is coming from parentals or some type of authoritative figure that's telling you that you can't do something or something like that. That's why I encourage you. This isn't just a self plug. You can watch some of my things on YouTube. Watch Gary Vee. Watch Tony Robbins. Watch other people. Tony Goggins. Oh, that's interesting. I think that rhymes. And then other people. Just look up motivational stuff and like literally listen to this stuff like it's music. What you need to do is start to hear words from people and others that are telling you to build yourself up and to like really, pendant le forcé, but not give a fuck about what other people are saying about you because your brilliance will shine and others will benefit from it, and start to actually believe that within yourself. But the biggest thing with that is, again, just like when you're feeding something, affirmations to yourself, and then also having like race motorcycles and jump triples, and then something happened. All right. So what was the something that happened and what was that event? Right. So for this, check this out. It is on Skillshare. It is called like unblocking chakras or something. Look up Soul International. That's where I have a course that's literally, and it's free. It's like literally free. The only thing it costs is 30 minutes of your time, which to a lot of people, it's how many people will actually invest that into themselves. Reflect on that. But in that, it goes into like a traumatic event that happened in your life, and then going through that event and starting to navigate of which could happen, YouTube, my TikTok type of thing. But then navigating into like how that happened, what beliefs you have about yourself because of that. And because of those beliefs, what literally vicious cycle have you been stuck in for the past year, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11? And when you watch it, it's like literally an exercise with a PDF that you print out. So it's like literally like an exercise. And it's me walking you through and sharing my own personal stories about how, just like a little not spoiler alert, but like a sharing moment. What I talk about is how with my event was my grandfather passed away when I was 8 years old. And for me, it started a whole narrative in my mind that, oh, if I get close to people or my family, then they are going to die. Right. So what that did is keep me from getting close with my family members. And then a story about like, oh, well, my family members aren't close to me and they don't like or approve with what I do. And why is that? Because this happened. And then it was just a whole cycle. And I needed to change the way I thought. And then depending on what the nature of these different things that you have in your life, you know, if it's something about like anger, aggression, or pettiness or something like that, it started somewhere. And there's other ways, you know, you could being forgiving, rewriting the narrative of what happened. And I forgot what the third one was. I know it's like, you're telling us about what you forgot. It's like, yeah, because it's really like something I made and is for other people's benefit. But you'll only get a benefit from it if you go through it and do it. And it is a free course. It is free 99. Not like, oh, try it with her. No, it's free. It's one of the free ones. Look into like getting unstuck. That's what it's called. Getting unstuck. GETTING unstuck. And you'll see me. I think you know what I look like. You'll see me just me like, or something. Or it's like me looking at the clouds or something like that. But getting unstuck, look on Skillshare, and then you'll see it right there. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead, start to close this out. I know I've said that each time, but some people always, they bring up another question. But all this goes around into feeding your mind, feeding your soul, feeding your body with the things that you want to. You're welcome, and I'm grateful. Into feeding yourself with things that will build you up. If you have other people around you that are not being congruent or going parallel or in the same direction of what you're going in your life, start to make changes. Start to put other narratives in your mind that align with more where you want to go, and be consistent with that. Especially those in the United States. Today is the equinox of autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, the beginning of when things start to fall away for rebirth in the springtime, right? And so all this type of stuff, this is the time to really start affirmations. Let those old programming habits die away. Let them fall away to the wayside. Let it become compost. Those lessons of compost that nourishes the soil and feeds and grows what you eat, honestly, in your winter garden or in your spring garden, you know, do whatever works. All right. So I am grateful for everyone for joining today. Thank you for all the questions and all your support. TikTok, I know I say it all the time, but I will be posting things more sometime. I find that if you've ever watched The Social Dilemma, I was realizing how TikTok was making me feel and stuff like that, and it's wasting time on it. So I realized it was using me and I wasn't using it. So I stopped using it. I let it stop using me. So I took my distance away from it. And now I use this just as a way to connect and reach out with others. So if you're listening to the repeat, and if I know I have like 4 to upload, but if you're listening to the repeat, the guided meditation is about to start. And I'm grateful for everyone for joining me. And until next week, until in 2 weeks, this is bi-weekly. And in 2 weeks, I will see you then. Please message me with questions. Best way is like Instagram. Same thing, SENSEI.SHUI on Instagram. Or message me on YouTube, comment or something to let me know questions. If you let me know questions ahead of time, I could really do these. These are for you, but I could really build an entire episode around that. So please submit your questions. Please submit your questions, and then I can help you out best. And I will see you next in 2 weeks. Stay mindful, stay positive, and consume things that fill you with peace. Have a nice day, and namaste.